Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 75 of Learn and Become podcast. This episode will be related to learning, to development, but I hope it gets you to think a little bit. Really do. Because that's what I'll be talking about today. A week ago, one acquaintance is when you know someone but you're not a close friend. This guy is a friend of my friend. He was involved in an accident and he didn't survive. And even though he wasn't a close friend of mine, the situation was very, I'd say, impactful for me. And yesterday I got myself thinking about this, which is we don't last forever. It's a thing we all know, even though we don't really think about it all the time, and it's not a thing that we think about as we live life. But in this moment, under these circumstances and based on what happened, I got myself thinking about it in a very almost not almost like, but in almost like a desperate way, as if I didn't know that was a reality. But the reality was just kind of like so close that it was something that really broke me down for maybe half an hour or in an hour. I don't know. But what does that have to deal with learning, right? Like, it has nothing to do with learning, does it? So that's the connection I'll try to make. But I want to build up some thoughts around it as we talk, as we have this conversation. Guy was very young. He wasn't a child or anything. On the contrary, he had 4 kids. He was under 40 years old. And he's no longer around. That's it. We'll all move forward someday, regardless of whatever you believe, if there is afterlife, if there is not. But the point is, what are you leaving behind? There's a Brazilian writer, and he's even the writer of one of the books that are back here. He says, there is no way for us to stay forever. And the only way for us to stay, in the literal terms, is to stay in the hearts and minds of the people we have the chance to be around. And this guy in particularly, I wasn't, as I mentioned, I wasn't a close friend of him, but he's left a very good legacy. He's been a good man for his family. And all the things he proposed to do, he was very dedicated, as far as I've heard people talking about him. And good-hearted person. And yeah, he's gone. We have a few ways to look into life. That's very broad. We can try to have different perspectives about it. No, we can try. We do have different perspectives about it. And when we think that life isn't forever, and I'm saying in the literal means of if you believe in afterlife and things of this nature, which I personally do. So as a Christian, I do believe that in the beginning, the initial intention was not to have death. It's not even the point of the podcast, but the point I'm trying to say is that when we think that life ain't forever, in the means of literal life, blood, flesh, time, we have two ways to look into things generally. One is to try to get as many things as we can out of life. So I'd say that's the immediate gratification, the reward, the I'll do all I want, I'll do all I want to, I'll do all that pleases me because I don't know how much longer I do have. So I'll enjoy life because I've got only one life. So very good perspective for those who want to do things that are very pleasure based, maybe on regards to doing things, even things that they shouldn't, maybe on a rational perspective, like drinking too much, doing drugs, spending more money than they have, doing nothing but things that are pleasing to themselves. And that's for sure one perspective to look into that. But we also got the second one, which is if life ain't forever, I'll use all that was given to me or all that I have to reach my best self, to accomplish and to do all things that I possibly can to leave a legacy that could help not humanity, at least the people that I know and the people that are around me, my community, my circle. And when we think about it in the second perspective, and when we look back into history, we'll see great people. We can talk about scientists, we can talk about doctors, we could talk about philosophers, we could talk about, people, humans in general that lived before us, and somehow they shaped future with their legacy and with the life they lived. And the people that probably enjoyed themselves and just did all that was like whatever they felt like doing, let's put it that way. Most of them don't even know like who they were. Maybe even like their descendants don't know much about them probably. A good example, I don't know much about my parents, grandparents, except for, let me see. I know maybe two stories. One about my mom's grandfather, People say, or my mom says, he was a very good guy. He helped a lot the community. They lived in a very small village, and he was the one who hired a teacher to come into the village and to teach all the kids. He was a good person. And he didn't worry only about himself and about whatever he was working on. But apparently his legacy was very strong, that it got down to my grandmother's generation, my mom's and mine. So like I'm the fourth generation, and I'm talking about him right now. His name was Granddad Mota, M-O-T-A. And the granddad or granddaddy or grandfather is because my mom is the one that mentions him. So she says like granddaddy or granddad or grandfather Mota. The other one is about my father's grandmother, that she came over into my grandmother's city to kind of like to correct her of something she did wrong, maybe, but she was already a grown up woman, so it's more like kind of a extreme story, maybe a little bit funny depending on the way we look at the situation. But those are the two stories I can probably mention from 4 generations back. And if we think about all the people that were just doing whatever they could with the resources they have to be good for themselves, to enjoy life, to have pleasure in all of it, I cannot recall a person and say like, oh, this person did all they wanted to do and that's it. So with that said, I want to bring over this perspective that people that used their potential to do things that were not only based on their own lives and themselves and their own benefit, they were able to last longer than those that didn't. So maybe what I'm trying to say is that when we learn, when we develop the potential that was given to us, and when we're serious about developing life, chances are we'll leave a legacy that will outlive us, will stay even when we're not around anymore. But the same reason could be the perfect excuse not to do a thing. So the same idea is good enough to tell you do nothing, or to tell you do whatever it takes for you to take the best you can from the skills, from the gifts, from the life you were given. And I don't know about you, but I'd love to do my best with the life that was given to me, and help somehow those around me and maybe even further to advance in life, to have a better life, to help hopefully I say humanity, I think I'm going to go too far, but to help humans to be a version of themselves that they'd like to look back and say, nice, I did all I could and I've lived well enough. Yeah, that's kind of like a weird conversation. Hope I can watch this episode in 50 years and be like, wow, that's something I still believe. And what does that has to do with learning, right? You don't learn because because life's short. You won't grow. You won't develop things that were given to you. But if you live in a way that you can not only live, but you can also leave a legacy, not only you'll be remembered, which is not even the main point. Matter of fact, that's very selfish also, but you can probably be someone that was helpful to others to live a good life, and you yourself will feel better, or you'll you feel like you've used your best to live. Maybe a good metaphor could be, let's say you have like the last orange of your life to eat. And you have the option just to like eat it, or you could eat it and plant the seed. You never eat the fruit of that tree for sure. But what if it's possible for you to have that orange, to live, to experience that moment, and also be able to leave behind, to plant a tree, plant a seed that hopefully comes to becoming a tree that will hopefully feed others as well. It does feel like more like, I'm not preaching, that's not the purpose. I'm not trying to be philosophical, even though I think I'm already doing it. But I'm just trying to share with you what's inside of my mind on regards to the perspective of we don't last forever in learning. I don't even think that's a podcast I would like to be recording. I don't think that's a topic I'd like to be talking about. But I'm just saying it because it's something that really hit me hard. And yeah, I'd like to share that with you as well. Because hopefully it could maybe be something that makes sense to you as well. Something that was also interesting and eye-opening to you. Yeah, but while you live, learn. That might be a good statement to put it into different words and different picture. While you live, learn. Is why we're learning. There is a sentence maybe by Einstein or Bruce Lee. Somebody said this sentence. There's no correlation between Einstein and Bruce Lee, but I just don't remember who said it. That when you stop learning, we start dying. So while you live, learn. Because to learn means that you're active, you're doing things, you're acquiring new information, you're talking to different people, you're trying to learn a new skill, you're still ambitious about life in the sense that you're still trying to live, you're still trying to create something, or still trying to leave a legacy behind. You of course you want to see your legacy. The same Brazilian writer I mentioned in the beginning, his name is Quarta-feira. He says, I'm not afraid of death because when it comes, I'm already gone. Like, I'm never gonna meet with it. Which wasn't the thought I've got to have yesterday for sure. The thought I had was more like, wow, it's we're not gonna be here forever. Crazy. Yeah, I guess that's it. I wish there were more specific things that I could maybe bring into the picture, but I don't really think there is. So yeah, that's it. Hope to see you on episode 76 of Learn and Become podcast, and I hope you have a good one.